And hello everyone, and as you are looking at this video right now, you are officially entering into week 2 of the course. And just a few things that I want to cover here before I go briefly into the week 2 content. This is the last day as I'm recording this video for students to be added to this class. As a result of looking at the email with the registrar, today is the final day. So many of you all, after looking at this video, may have just been added to this class. And I want to bring attention to those who have just been added to the course. As you know, the course did start this past week on Tuesday, October the 10th. And we are wrapping up week 1 right now as we speak. And we are going into week number 2. As you can see right here on the display in D2L, that week 2 happens to start on Monday, October the 16th. So this is what I want for you all to do for the ones that were just added to the course. I want you to get in contact with me and let me show you my hours in terms of where I can be reached. Click onto the Start tab. I am available for counsel. That would be Monday through Saturday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can also send me a text message, or if you prefer to just send an email, of course my email would be hvblack@cheyney.edu. You can send me an email and I will reply to your email within a 24-hour period. So for those who are just added, who have just been added to the course, by all means reach out to me, all right, so that we can make some sort of arrangement and that I can kind of walk you through the schematics of the course and how we're doing things. This is a Fall 2-star course, as you know, and as a result of it being the Fall 2-star course, we only have 7.5 weeks that we happen to be together. So the material is condensed. It's not a traditional 15 weeks, but it happens to be 7.5 weeks only. So again, for those who have just been added on to the course, and I just looked at the list a few minutes ago, I don't see new add-ons. But however, though, if you get added on by the end of the day, all right, by all means, reach out to me so that I can give you instruction in terms of what to do. Now, there are some of you all at the beginning of the course, at the start of the course, as we started it this past Tuesday, October the 10th, you have not been active in the course yet. And I want to remind you that yesterday at 11:59 p.m., your discussion activities, your initial response to your week 1 discussions were due. Also giving an introduction of yourself as well. Now, the main assignment for week 1 is going to be due tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. All your main assignments are going to be due on Saturday nights at 11:59 p.m. But however, though, when it comes to discussion activities, and that's centered and correlated around the weekly content that we happen to be discussing, those are going to be due on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. 11:59 p.m., pardon me. So one thing to look at and to be very attentive to is this, is that the calendar is already laid out in terms of activities. So you have notifications when you log into D2L of what's due. So pay attention to this course calendar. By all means, look into the content because everything is built within the weekly content in terms of what we're going to be covering. But however, though, when an assignment is due, for example, it is going to show up in the calendar that that assignment is due and the time that it happens to be due. For example, if you're looking as we conclude week number 1, that assignment's going to be due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. That would be the week 1 assignment on equipment purchases and yield percentages. So keep that in mind. You're going to get notification by the calendar on D2L when the assignments are due when you log in, and then pay very close attention to the current content, the current week that we are in. Now, if you've noticed, for those that have been active within the course, is that I've already done some grading already on your week 1 discussions, as well as your introductions. And some of you did earn points already for doing the week 1 discussions, as well as the introduction on yourself. So just some things to keep in mind. And for those, again, that have just been added onto the course, feel free to reach out to me. The one thing I can advise you to do is to start working on the week 1 content over the course of the weekend as you are added to the course, and reach out to me for further instruction by either email or by phone. With that being said, as we are going into week number 2 of the course, let me go briefly down here to week number 2 in terms of what we're going to be covering. So, week number 2, we're going to talk about unit and recipe conversions. So, as I had mentioned briefly last week within the material, we begin to talk about yielding, okay? You are starting with the original form of a food or substance, but let's say, for example, if it happens to be cooked, cut, or peeled away, what happens to be the final portion that you're ending up with? I'm just kind of elaborating on what the term yielding means. So when you think about yield, a very easy way to understand yield is that you happen to be taking away from a food or product by either cooking it, or it could be that you're cutting the fat or trimming the fat from it, or you could be peeling it. So this applies really to all different food groups if you think about it. It applies to meats, it can apply to vegetables, anything that you would happen to prepare within the kitchen, okay, you can apply yielding to it. So this is what we're going to cover this week. By all means, read this material on unit conversions. And when you are following recipes, this is something to really remember, okay, is that you are using different measurements. Like, for example, the most common ones are the teaspoon and the tablespoon. But then also cups, pints, quarts. You are also using that, and also gallons. So I kind of put together this abbreviation chart for everybody to follow in terms of what identifies a teaspoon or a tablespoon, a pint, a quart, a gallon, also milliliters and liters, ounces and pounds and grams. Okay, these are kitchen metrics that are applied. And this is one of the main key things to understand when you happen to be a chef working in a restaurant is the different types of units and also the abbreviation that's pertaining to these units. So take a look at this lecture that I put together, and every week is like this class where I actually put together a lecture for you. And if you remember in the required course materials, if you click right here, you can also find a Chapter 2 PowerPoint that I've also put together to help support the actual lecture as you click into the actual week and you begin to read the different content. Key thing to remember is that you want to read this as well as the textbook because we are going to have 2 quizzes that are going to come up within this course. I can tell you that coming up in 2 weeks, I'm going to be giving you all a midterm quiz that's going to be covering probably about the first 6 chapters. And then in the final week, which will be the 7.5 week, you're going to take a final quiz, which is going to cover tentatively chapters 7 through 14 when it comes to terms and definitions. So you definitely want to study these terms, okay, and begin to put them in your memory bank, because you probably will be seeing a lot of these terms on a quiz that's coming up, or on the quiz that's coming up in week number 4. And then, of course, moving along, when we finish up the course in the final week, there'll be another quiz as well, too. So let me talk about the assignment, okay? The assignment that I've given you all. We're going to go down. And I want you all to do a reflective summary. So, part of the reflective summary, okay, it's a 2-part assignment. I want you to think about a time where you had to adjust a recipe in terms of portions and numbers of people that were to be served. Tell me, did you happen to increase or decrease the amount of the portions based on the number of the people that you had to serve? This could be job related, or it could be an event that you happen to be the host or be the chef. That's going to be the first part. The second part I want you to apply what we call the butcher's yield test. All right. And this is discussed, okay, within the chapter content. So I want you to solve the equations that I came up with regarding prime rib. Okay. And I've given you all 2 different scenarios on how to solve these equations. This is going to be a 600 to 800 word summary that you're going to put together on Word document. If you have any questions regarding how to apply the Butcher Yields test, I did include that here in the lecture. So think about this. This is a division equation. We are taking simple mathematics and we're applying this because you're taking away. So you are dividing the part by the whole in order to come up, okay, with the cooking loss percentage, and then you're going to convert that decimal over to an actual percentage. This is how you apply the butcher's yield test. So this is your guide right here, and it's also in your readings, and also have it included in the PowerPoints that's within the required course materials. So next Saturday night, remember this, October 21st, this is going to be due. Now beforehand, I want you all to pay attention to the discussion threads because we are going to have discussions regarding this. So again, you're going to apply division with the first one. Okay, I want you all to discuss the following recipe yields, and I've given you 4 different scenarios here. For discussion number 1, apply division to this and give me the new conversion factor. And then also, for discussion number 2, this is a yielding equation. Okay, I want you to give me the cost per pound. Okay, and then once you do this, once you figure this out, divide it by 16 to determine the price per ounce. And I want you to answer all of these within sentence form. And then, of course, another example of yielding here I came up with, and remember what I mentioned at the very beginning, okay, talking about peeling. That is a form of yielding. So, again, when you're cutting meat, that's a form of yielding, but then also when you're peeling fruits and vegetables, that's a form of yielding as well. Figure out these equations, you're applying division, and give me the answers within sentence form. Now, these are going to be due on Thursday night. These are your discussion activities. This is a form of assignment. You are giving an initial response, and then just respond back to your peers for each discussion question by Saturday night. And then your main assignment that I covered a little bit earlier is going to be due Saturday night, next Saturday night, October the 21st. Okay, everyone, that's going to wrap up this week as I have introduced week number 2 to you. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You have my office hours where I can be reached by phone or send me an email. This is Professor Javier Black telling everyone to have a good weekend, and I will be talking to you soon.